Today we're going to draw a mouse eating some cheese. And mouses, little mooses, mices, however you want to say it, they love cheese. So let's give a little mouse some cheese, make him happy. Alright, so let's start off with some pencil and paper. And remember to start off drawing really lightly with the pencil. And then later we'll go over it on pen, and then we'll erase the pencil. And then you'll have a nice outlined drawing. So let's start with some shapes first. So first I'm going to kind of outline his head. His head's going to be kind of a cross between a triangle and a rectangle, kind of a little bit of both. So his head's almost like a little shoe. You can look at it like a little shoe. Or if you want to do it, you can always draw it as two rectangles, like the top of his head and then the bottom of his head, and then we can connect it like that. So however you want to do it, it works for you. Again, we're drawing really lightly, so no big deal, however you want to draw it. Next, let's draw his body, and we're going to draw something like that. Like it's going to be another rectangle kind of coming down. So body and head right here, and then let's go back up to his head and let's draw some ears. We're going to give him some big old ears, some big old mouse ears. You can draw them however big you want. You can draw them big, or you could draw them just like kind of small if you want. I'm gonna do big old mouse ears. I like drawing big, big old ears on my mouse. So it's kind of like a big circle, almost like an oval egg. Looks like an egg, kind of. And then another one over here, but this one, you can draw this one coming back like that. For me, I'm gonna draw it kind of like a skinnier circle, kind of coming up like that, and it looks like it's kind of going in that direction. And then on the ears, we'll draw the inner part of the ears, right there, and then like right here, you can draw like another little oval right there. So two more circles inside those ears, and that gives a little outline of the ears. So very good. So for the nose, you can draw a little button nose on him. You can draw a little circle for his nose there. That looks pretty good. And then for his eyes, we draw two more circles, and we're gonna have him looking down at the cheese he's eating. So we're gonna draw some big pupils in there too. He's gonna be very excited that he's eating cheese. Cool. So next, let's come on, follow his back all the way down to where his legs are. These are where his legs are gonna be. So we draw two little squares right here, and we'll kind of round those out later. And then a little foot down below. So a little foot down below, and then a square up above. And then on the other side, another little square over here. And if you want to draw all the way through, you totally can if you need to do that. And then another little foot down here. The foot's just like a little kind of flat, squished, round thing right there. So we got two little legs on him. Now let's go ahead and do his tail back here. We're going to have tail come out of the end, so straight line coming off the back, and then you could just kind of curve it up. You kind of curve it up, and then follow on the other side. It's like a big S. Let's round off the tip of his tail. Ooh, I don't really... Not a fan of that, so I could go and erase and then redraw it if I need to. And again, we're drawing really lightly. I know mine looks a little dark. Let's lighten it up a little bit. So yours should look more like this. So, and again, we can get kind of sketchy with this because it's not the final thing. So just really light pencil. Great, there's his tail. And you can always do a tail that comes like up if you want. You can draw any kind of tail. You could have a tail that kind of curves around in front of him. You could draw a tail that kind of comes this way, and it's just like a little snake coming off of him. So however you want to do the tail, you can go ahead and do the tail however you want. Cool. So next, let's go ahead and we'll draw a big cheek on him. He's gonna be eating cheese. So again, it's kind of like his ear, but down here in his mouth, a big old cheek. Let's draw a big old cheek because he's gonna have cheese just stuffed in there because he's a crazy little mouse. Crazy little mouse. And then let's go over here and we're gonna put his mouth right up front, right here. Just a little half curved line, and then we'll put some teeth on him, a little square, and then kind of split the square in half. And then here we'll draw the chunk of cheese that he's eating. Draw that chunk of cheese right there. And now the chunk of cheese is in place, we go ahead and draw his hands. So I'm gonna draw a little square right here, and then two lines coming off, two lines for his arms. So there's the top line, there's the bottom line, and then two more lines coming up. So this is the top of his arm, that's the bottom of his arm. And then for his fingers, we do a couple little squares on here, or you can kind of do a couple little round things like that. And on the back here, we'll do a couple more little fingers. So there's one finger, there's two finger, there's three finger. And you can make them as close as you want to each other. And then two more little lines coming off the back there to show his arm. So great, there's our little mouse right there, eating cheese. We give him a bit of a smile. Let's give him a little bit of a smile on him. There we go. Ha! He's eating the cheese. He's happy about it. He likes the cheese. Great. So basically, there is our mouse. Our little mouse right there eating cheese. Look at him. He loves it. He loves the cheese. So now we're going to go ahead and do the outline for it. So we're gonna go ahead and take our pen now, and we're gonna draw darkly over it. And remember, all these lines, these are all just kind of base lines for us to follow along. They're just little guides for us. So you could change things up if you want to. So I'm gonna change a couple things up in here. So for his head, I'm gonna do a little bit more of a slope, and then come up and around like that. So see how I changed things? I didn't follow that exactly because in your mind you can kind of see what you want to do, and it'll take time to kind of figure out, how to do these things. But the more you do it, the better you're gonna get. Great. Let's hit his little nose, and I'm gonna do the same thing with the little nose. So I'm gonna put the little nose more up here like that. So you could follow that little circle, but I did a little bit of a bigger one right there. Kind of a little button nose that goes up. And then the mouth come down, and I'll kind of follow everything else here. Just those two things I decided that I wanted to change, which is fine. So follow his teeth and happy little mouth. And then the cheese. And then come and do the fingers. And you go around the little mouse here, and you go do it in any order you want. If you want to keep going around with the ear and go down the back, you go however you want with this. That's the nicest thing, is that we already got the drawing, so now it's all up to you to finish it out. And here's his little fingers. And the other piece of the cheese. Whoop. And the back of the arm. And I stop right where the body's gonna be. And let's pick it back up to the chin here. And then the big old cheek. You got big old cheese cheeks. You got cheese cheeks. You got big old cheese cheeks. And then let's come back up, and we'll finish the rest of the head here before we go down into the body anymore. So hit that ear. Ooh, look at that big old ear. Big old mouse ear. And there, I'm gonna put a little bit of hair in here for his ear. And there's his ear. And I'm just gonna kind of leave this line open. I like a lot of times to just leave open lines. I think it lets the drawing breathe a little bit. So now I'm coming around doing the other ear and the inside of the ear part. And now the eyes. Now the eyes, I think I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna take my pencil, and maybe I'm gonna adjust some eyes here. So I'm gonna erase these eyes, and I'm gonna try doing some more cartoony eyes. Let's do cartoony eyes. So cartoony eyes, basically they're like two circles that overlap each other like that. And then when you draw, you don't draw any of this in between part. You leave all that out. And then those are more like cartoony eyes. So that's great. I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna take my pen again. I got my outline and cartoony eyes. Great. And then we'll have him looking down. This makes him look a bit happier. Great. There we go. So now he's eating his cheese there. And let's draw his back. And then go down into his tail. Nice little S shape. And if you can do things in one big line, that's great. If not, if you need to pick up and stop and move, that's totally fine too. And then his leg here, I'm going to round his leg out a bit, just like that. And then draw his foot. And then into his back. And then I'm going to start up here. I'm going to come back over here and start doing his chest. And then his stomach. Ooh. Plomp. Right down into his foot. And then his other leg, kind of rounded out a bit. Again, those squares, those are just good shapes to just kind of place where things are going to be at. Oh, that foot's a little big, but that's okay. I don't really mind. I'm going to give him little toes there, too. Some little toes for him. Little toes over here, too. Great. We got pretty much everything in here. Last thing we could do is we could put some whiskers on him. Some little whiskers. I'll do like 3 whiskers. So kind of like 1, 2, 3. There we go. And then whiskers on the other side. Ready? 1, 2, 3. There we go. Now we got a little mouse eating some cheese. And if you want, you can even come in here and put a little bit of shape to the cheese. So if I put a little line right here, it looks like it kind of has different dimensions to it. And you could put some circles in here if you want, like he's eating like Swiss or cheddar cheese or something like that. So great. And now we'll take our eraser and we'll go ahead and we'll just kind of erase, 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 and we'll get all that pencil line out of there. Yeah, your pencil line. I don't need you anymore. Thank you for all your help, but I don't need you anymore. Get out of here. Great. And there's a little mouse, a little cartoon mouse. He's eating some cheese. I'm gonna go and just adjust his nose a little bit and get him put some little nostrils on him. There we go. Some little nostrils on his nose. Ah, that makes him look funny. Looks kind of silly like that. So great. There's our cartoon mouse eating some cheese. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. All right.